Happy birthday.
Not exactly how I want to spend my birthday, and report and meetings and more meetings and more meetings and more meetings. But guess what? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. I still can't complain.
Yeah, that's a biggie. Hey, Frank.
Nice. I had him on my tie today.
I'm watching the clock. Good evening and welcome to the Spalding County Board of Commissioners July 14th Board of Zoning of Public Hearing. I would ask that you please silence your cell phones and all other electronic devices. I would ask that Commissioner Gwen Flowers Taylor from District 1 deliver the invocation, and Commissioner James Dutton from District 2 to lead us in the pledge to the flag. I'd also like to, at this time, to recognize Commissioner Dutton this evening as it's his birthday.
If you would join me by bowing your head, and let's have a moment of silence initially, just for the families and the children that have suffered in the storms and the flooding in Texas. Father God, tonight we come here to you in thanksgiving for all that you've given us. You've given us a safe place to live, fresh air, good food to eat, and there are those today who are hungry, who are cold, who are suffering without a place to live. We're grateful for that, even though we're not deserving of that. We ask you to be with us tonight in this room, not just this board, but for all the residents here. We ask you to be here as we make decisions that will exercise patience, discernment, and the best decisions that we can make for the entire community. We ask you to be in this room and to guide our steps, and we ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, may I make a motion to amend the agenda to add a number 9 under new business regarding listing the Bleachery Street property as a public nuisance?
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those
This
in
is a
favor?
new number 9, or a 9 under new business?
Yes.
Oh, I gotta write it down.
Okay.
So this would be a 10.
A 10.
Okay.
Okay. Excuse me. All right, your motion was for 10?
My motion was to add a new number 10
Okay.
under new business to discuss.
Second.
Your
property.
motion was to add 10? Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. I would entertain a motion to go into public hearing for the purpose of hearing from those that have signed up the petition to speak in support or opposition to applications. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. If you would,
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to do that. Application 2507Z, Newton Crouch Jr. et al., Brian Remington, owners of 7 Crouch Road, Griffin, Georgia 30224. The property is located in land lot 244 of the Second Land District, parcel number 221011035, and consists of 2.36 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from AR1 Agricultural Residential to PDD Planned Development District to solely PDD for commercial uses, specifically a restaurant, gas station, and miscellaneous retail. Application 2516B, Newton Crouch Jr. et al., Brian Remington, owners of 7 Crouch Road, Griffin, Georgia 30224. The property is located in land lot 244 of the Second Land District, parcel number 221011035, and consists of 2.36 acres. The applicant is requesting a variance on lot size of PDD requirements due to rezoning.
Do we have anybody who has signed up?
Mr. Chair, we do not have anyone signed up for this application.
Do I have a motion to close the
Motion
public
to
hearing?
close the public hearing for application 25.
All right,
-07.
and I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0. Motion is approved.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to go into into public hearing for application 25-16V.
Do we need a public hearing?
The way that you asked for the agenda this evening is that you do public hearing for one and then vote for
Okay.
this application.
All right, that'll be fine.
Yes, all right. Let me get where I am.
So you're on number 2, sir, and I'll be more than happy to read that if you'd
Well, I
like.
see what we've done.
Okay. What about this? Aren't we doing a review?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Allen, would you please review the application with us? Indicate the staff position and recommendation?
Yes, sir. So this first went in front of the planning commission back in February, and then I had a revision in March. A little bit of an unusual situation. It is surrounded by, it's on the corner of, Crouch Road and Rehoboth Road. It's a little bit of an unusual situation in that it's only like 2 acres surrounded by all this large industrial land. So they wanted initially to rezone it to commercial, but then in March, they had a revised application to rezone it to PDD, Planned Development District, like the rest of the properties around it, in order to more align with the future land use plan there. However, the uses on here, as we said in the description, are restaurant, gas station, and miscellaneous retail. The zoning code and the future land use map, as well as the comp plan, mention light industrial uses for this area, as well as office uses. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get full-blown industrial on a 2-acre property, nor office as well. It can't really be combined with the other properties surrounding it, which are very large industrial park lands. There's a Crouch Road right-of-way behind it that's been abandoned, which separates it from these other properties. So, again, a little bit of an unusual situation. What the applicant is proposing is that they feel like it is in line with the employment area that's mentioned in this area for the future land use map, and the fact that they will obviously be providing employment with these businesses there. And they think it is a nice complementary use to the surrounding industries there and offices to give them services right there, not having to go across the city or the county to get these same services. So they view it as a complementary service to the industry and offices that are out there. So can it ever be industrial or office? No, because of the size. So that's where we're at with this application. Staff did recommend approval, as did Planning Commission.
Discussions?
Is there nobody to speak?
No, ma'am.
So I have a problem with this application. First of all, I have my first question. What is the PDD acreage requirement for a lot size?
For commercial, for that is minimum 5 acres.
Okay, so we have a minimum of 5 acres, and you only have 2.36 acres.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's the first problem, because people have come to us and asked to be zoned from residential to agricultural because they have a small farm or whatever, and if they don't meet the 5-acre requirement, we're not approving them. I am not comfortable with the fact that this is a request to change the zoning without a request to change the future land use map. The future land use map does not list that area based on the map that I saw. That is not that is not a employment corridor. That is next to the industrial part.
It is, or it's right on the edge of the employment corridor.
Okay. So just like the tire store that is just on the edge of the employment corridor next to the railroad track, that we didn't give any play because they didn't have everything they were required to do what they wanted. I just think that if we start picking and choosing where we're going to not go with our own ordinance, that's a problem. So that's the first thing, picking and choosing. Secondly, there is no request for a future land use map, which I've been on this board for 20 years, as long as we've been having a future land use map. If there was a rezoning request that would change what the future land use map says for that area, then we had a future land use map change. If the future land use map change was not allowed, then the zoning was not allowed, and that made the point moot. The other thing is that there is not an access road there. There's no county road, there's actually no anything designated road. So the maps that we have, there, he says there is a crouch road that goes between the other properties and his property. Okay? So there is no road there. There's nothing in this design that shows us how people will access it. If you go 1.5.
Can you go back to the map?
Well, and that's the other thing. This is so little.
It's on the corner,
It's on the corner
2 roads.
of the
That's
Lakes
Rehoboth Road,
Parkway.
Yeah.
and then Crouch Road, the road
They-
that goes around the industrial park.
There is no access for this is, what road is that? I mean, that's really small.
So-
The Lakes Parkway.
Yeah, and then this is Rehoboth, so they come in here, there's an entrance here, and there's an entrance there.
Right. So, but this Crouch Road was what they were saying that it was going to be the entryway. Is that what I'm
No,
understanding?
ma'am, that's not. It's at the back and it's abandoned, so.
Okay, so,
It's more like a dirt trail, it's not really a,
okay, so why was that even listed here? Is that the address? If it's not a road, how do you call it something? But the other thing that I have a concern with, and if that is fixed, that's fine if there's an actual roadway, is the fact that we don't really, I want to try to understand how you can get 2,500 square foot buildings and gas station pumps and a septic tank on 2.36 acres. We don't even let people put a residential home on 2.36 acres.
So there
If
is
it's not
water
required in that
available,
area.
and City of Griffin sewer available.
So are you saying that the reason that in the PDD we require for people to have 5 acres is because they don't have water?
Usually with the PDD, it's more of like a full-blown commercial center with many suites in it and things of that nature. Obviously, if they had the property to do that, they would do that there, but again, to the unique situation of the property and its small size, that's about all they can do on the property.
So, I mean, I feel that we just have some rules. And also, there are convenience stores located within a half mile of this road. At High Falls Road, there's another convenience store located at Wilson Road, less than another half mile in the other direction. So I don't know what convenience this is going to bring, what it's gonna add to the industrial part that is not already there. I hear what your recommendation is, but at the end of the day, if we don't follow the rules that we're using for everybody else, then, you know, when we're gonna start picking and choosing who we're gonna let do stuff.
So
That's
Commissioner,
all.
Commissioner Flowers, so if I may, in February, when they first proposed it to the Planning Commission, I believe also in March, it was discussed at length with the future land use map, whether it needed the future land use amendment. Originally, they had, when they were proposing to rezone it to C1B commercial, they did have the Flume Amendment attached to it. Later, with the revised application a month later, when it was to go to PDD, that was dropped because it would now be the same zoning as the surrounding parcels around it. So that's why the Flume Amendment was later abandoned, that application, because it would be
So are you
PDD.
saying that the Flume Amendment for that piece of property is different than the Flume for the other surrounding property?
I will say it is not in conflict with the rest of the area.
Okay, that's not what I asked you.
It aligns with what I believe to be the intent out there still.
Okay, so what I need for you to understand is that we have a vote up here and we're expecting you guys to follow the ordinance the way that it's written. We're not expecting you or Steve to come up and give us your opinion on the best way something will work. That's not your job. Your job is to come up here and give the ordinance and tell us what the ordinance says, and your recommendation should follow that. Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, but I'm sick of this crap. Every time that we come in here, there's this whole big thing that is outside of the scope of what the planning division is supposed to be doing. This is not their job. This is, the people elected us to make those decisions. So I actually resent the fact that I'm sitting here listening to our director tell us the best way to let someone do something outside of our ordinance.
All right, do we have, do you want to speak?
Anybody?
I'm done, darling.
And I agree. I think the ordinance need to be the same. I mean, all across the board. So I do agree with that.
So, Ryan?
Yes, go ahead.
And we got an ordinance for a reason. I mean, but,
James, are you going to speak?
So in that ordinance is the process for asking for variances. That's what the whole purpose of the board is. Like, that's, when you get a little weird corner lot like this that can't really be built in much of any other way, they've come up with, hey, here's a potential use for this piece of property that we, it's next to the industrial park. You can't put, any kind of plant or warehouse there. Like, it's a small, so how do they get this built? Well, how do we use this piece of property? I think, specifically these particular builders have done some real high-end stuff other places. I think it's something that we would be proud to have here in Spalding County. Yes, I know that there are convenience stores nearby, but just like there's an actual area across the street that is contemplated, I won't say zoned or earmarked, but it's contemplated specifically for there being more commercial stuff, to be part of that whole sort of suite of services that we're offering and making more available to the people in the industrial park. The industrial park is going to, especially over the next 3 years, is going to really, really expand. You've got Renai that's already got a phase 2 and a phase 3 that now that some of the executive orders that were stopping them have been done away with, they're chomping at the bit to get going. That's hundreds of more employees, that's hundreds of more workers, and that's just one of the, I want to say 17 that are in there. I think this goes right along with that. I think you'll have a lot of the people that come in on their way to work that are going to get breakfast at the restaurant. I think you're going to have a lot of people on the way home that are going to get gas. I think this is an excellent location for it. And again, I don't think our developers are the fly-by-night types. I've seen the pictures of where they've done otherwise, and I go, man, that would be great here in Spalding County. And look at some of the other developments that aren't super great. You reference those two convenience stores. They're not that good looking. You kind of go, this is a little run down and not really taken care of. Whereas
I didn't say that.
I said that. But you look at the places like on 155, that liquor store right at the boundary on 155. Like, when they came in, we set a very high bar for them. Hey, you've got to make this, and it's got to look nice, and they nailed it. You know what I mean? And I'm a teetotaler, and I'm going, I don't know if we need another liquor store, but that's a place, even though they sell liquor, and I'm in general against alcohol. As far as the building and the structure and the use, it gets plenty of use. It looks great, and I think this is going to be the same thing. So for me, it's an easy yes. That's the whole purpose of the variance. I get that if y'all vote no, I won't be mad at you. But,
I just take exception when we start looking at applicants and deciding on the character of the applicant as to make the determination about whether or not the property is going to go. We're supposed to be here being equal across the board and looking at each applicant based on what they present, not their history. I mean, of course, if they have a really bad history, then we can question that.
Right.
But I don't, not challenging you, I just take exception to that. That's not what I operate out of. I always try to look at being on the same level for every applicant and following the rules that we have set up. If we don't like the rules, we should change them. But you have nothing to defend when you start arbitrarily changing the rules because it would work for someone. And, I mean,
You say we got the variance. I mean,
Yeah, I
do they give us the opportunity to change it?
Absolutely, and I think that's why I don't really like how you're phrasing that, Gwen. With we got to follow the rules. The rules include a variance. That's part of the rule structure.
but
Hey,
it's not a guarantee.
That's right. We get to vote, but like it's not breaking our rules if we vote to give someone a variance.
No,
That's
it's
part
not.
of our rules.
It's not.
So saying that we're up here not following our rules by granting a variance, that's not.
No,
correct.
I'm not speaking for the Board of Commissioners. I'm speaking for staff
Oh, no,
making
no.
a recommendation.
I'm on that.
is
I'm
outside of the
definitely on that train with
Um,
you. That
But what I do want you guys to understand is that when the people from 362 and McElroy come in here and they don't want a convenience store at a crossroads and the nearest convenience store is 2 miles away, how do we justify putting another convenience store within a half a mile of a convenience store at High Falls Road and at, I think it's Wilson Road. So, you know, I'm just saying, it isn't a matter of, we can give people a variance. The reason the variances are coming to us now is because we didn't like the decision process that was happening with the committee, because they were making rules that went against what we wanted to do. And, you know, however everyone votes, I am going to be consistent in not showing favoritism to someone after we've done something to someone else without a proper justification. That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, did you say, this project gonna, have job opportunities in it?
yeah, there's gonna be employees there. There's gonna be the applicants here. If maybe they could speak to. Mr. Chair.
Did someone
applicant's
sign
here.
up to speak?
They did not. No one signed up to speak, but the applicant is here.
How's the board feel? Board,
The applicant needs to speak.
you want to hear the applicant speak?
You can.
Yeah, we can.
Right, we need to go back into public, okay?
If you will state your name and your address for the record, please.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. My name is Emil DeMello from 1 Glen Lake Parkway Northeast, Suite 650, Sandy Springs, Georgia, 30328.
And I'm Kavita Purohit, also from 1 Glen Lake Parkway, Suite 650, Sandy Springs, Georgia, 30328.
And we apologize that last time when we came for the Planning Commission, we didn't realize that we, as the applicant, we also need to fill out that form because we didn't do it last time and we were told we could come and speak. So this is the project that we respectfully request the rezoning approval for the restaurant complex with a sundry store and fuel.
Nothing down.
I don't think it's working.
You may have to.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thanks. This is the subject parcel. Oh, I see, okay. This is the subject parcel. It's 2.3 acres right at the corner of Rehoboth and Crouch Road. As Mr. Allen has said, it is surrounded by PDD. Our journey began in February. We initially applied for that C1B rezoning. And the Planning Commission, they liked the concept. They wanted that concept in the area to appeal to the community. Their recommendation, of course, was to narrow the use, and so we had followed their direction and had asked for a rezoning of PDD with the variance to less than the 5 acres to the 2.3 acres, since PDD requires a minimum of 5 acres. And as you can see across the parcel is zoned R4. That property owner did apply for a PDD rezoning, and the Planning Commission did approve of that. Okay, next slide, please. This is the site plan. It's the 4,800 square feet building with, now the sundry store and the restaurant are going to be split 50-50. So it's going to be 2,400 square feet each. The canopy to the north will have only diesel, and the canopy to the south will have only regular and premium gas. Next slide, please. This parcel, as was originally talked about, falls under the employment character area for Spalding County. Of course, the operative word is employment, and as you can see, we have all these plants in the immediate area that were incentivized to come to provide employment. Now, the only two amenities that you see in this vicinity is the disc golf course located right at the corner of Arthur K. Bolton Parkway and Rehoboth, and just south of that is the Spalding County Aquatic Center. And below the red dot, which is where the parcel is located, is Rehoboth Road Middle School. Next slide, please. Being that it's an employment character area, we investigated into what the employment for each factory, each plant was bringing to the table. Our immediate neighbor adjacent to us is Maricon Vinegar. They're sitting on 16.2 acres. They only have 30 employees working at that plant. That translates to less than 2 employees per acre. And if you look at the bullet point below, we extrapolated that number per acre to how many employees would we bring to the table in the 2.3 acres if we were Maricon Vinegar or any of these other plants. Maricon, if we translated 2.3 acres, only about 4 employees. Renai has done the best job. They've got 60 acres and 260 employees, yet that still would only translate to 10 employees within that 2.3 acres. Ecopol, only 4 employees. Otsuka, 2.3 employees. Telpon doesn't even make it to 1 employee for those 2.3 acres. Next slide, please. This is the employment that our development is going to bring to the table. The sit-down restaurant, we've got the kitchen staff, we've got the front of house, the general manager. Minimum we're going to need just for the restaurant alone is 14. And that can go as high as 26 employees. The sundry store itself, with the cashier, stockers, general manager, minimum is 5 employees and up to 8. So just at the very bare minimum, we're going to bring 19 employees, which is double than what Renai has brought to the table per acre. Next slide, please. Also, just another point that the Planning Commission had brought up about employment is that due to one of the members of the Planning Commission had stated that due to the shutdown of the mills, the vision was to incentivize these plants to come to the area in order to bring in employment. But because of technology today, these plants are sitting on tens of acres, but they don't really bring that much employment to the table because now technology has taken up a lot of the labor force's jobs. And so that was the reason why these numbers were so low for the plants. And now let's look at the property tax that our neighbor, Maricon Vinegar, is paying. They were given a fair market value by Spalding County at $1.2 million. Assessed value, millage rate, the estimated property tax is only $17,400 that Maricon is paying every year to Spalding County. Next slide, please. This is the estimated tax revenue for our development. The project cost is going to be minimum $3 million. That is actually a conservative estimate. It's going to be anywhere between $3 million to $4 million to build this. After you do the calculation, we're estimated to pay $43,000 in property tax to Spalding County, which is $26,000 more in tax revenue compared to what Maricon is doing right now. And they're sitting on way more acreage than the 2.3. This also does not take into account the sales tax we will be bringing to the table, the payroll tax, the business tax, and et cetera. Next slide, please. So we personally met with these factory employees to see what are the amenities that they are looking for. And these employees have 12-hour shifts. They only get 30 minutes within the 12 hours. And this is the food that they have access to within that 30-minute break. Subway, Dairy Queen, you've got the independent fast food restaurant Griffith's, and then you've got the 2 problem children for gas stations, Crispy Crunchy Chicken and Hunt Brothers Pizza. Either it's all fried, either it's mass-produced, either it's frozen food that's just heated up, or all of the above. This is a concept that we started in Roswell, Georgia, north of Atlanta, called Morning Birds. It's a brunch concept. And we've also brought food. We brought biscuits and bacon to show to everyone that this is quality food and organic food that we'd like to bring to the community. Next slide, please. This is the first page of our menu. It's no high fructose corn syrup, only organic ingredients, grass-fed beef, and no MSG. And these are just reviews. The food is so good, clean ingredients. The food was fantastic. The restaurant is beautiful, stellar service. And this is the interior build-out of Morning Birds. You can keep going, Eva. Yeah. And that's the other side. And this is a rendering of what the exterior of the building will look like at 7 Crouch Road in Griffin. If you go to the next slide, Eva, then this is what it will look like with the sundry store and the restaurant to the right. And this is another project that we are doing in the city of Douglasville. It is a Town Place Suites by Marriott that we're constructing, and right across from that is a 2-story restaurant complex with a rooftop bar on the 2nd floor. The parcel was not zoned appropriately, and we had to request a rezoning, and the city of Douglasville granted it. And we will be breaking ground this year. This is the petition. When we approached the plant employees, we had presented the concept to them to gauge the support as the exact same proposal as their 2,400 square feet for the retail, 2,400 square feet for the restaurant, and the fueling stations. And we did receive a very strong response. We received 57 signatures on this one. And Eva, if you want to just go slowly through these are all the signatures, and you can just keep going.
And these were employees at the various.
These are all the employees at all the plants in that Google Maps image that you saw earlier. And yes, so we welcome any questions and suggestions, and we really appreciate the opportunity to present the project.
I would like to add one more thing. And, madam, you're right about the fact that there are way too many convenience stores, but the idea is not convenience store. The idea is a restaurant, but the issue is that it takes $1 million to develop 2.3 acres, just the development. We're not talking anything vertical. You cannot support a restaurant alone in this 2.3 acre development because it won't support itself. And we don't want to be the ones putting in the money and going out of business. And I know you don't want that to happen in Spalding County, where businesses start and go out of business. So the only reason we had to bring in a sundry shop, and we don't even call it a convenience store because that's not the concept. The concept is more of some kind of a retail environment where people have other things that they can buy on their way home. Another thing that we have to have is fuel, just to bring in a secondary source of revenue, because just the restaurant cannot sustain itself. And that's the reason for bringing in the sundry shop and the fuel. Otherwise, that was not the intended purpose. The intended purpose is a restaurant, because that's what the community wants, loud and clear. That's what we talked to so many people at so many plants, and all of them had the same concern, that they don't have any food options that are good in the area. So most of them either bring food from home that are leftovers from the previous day, or just eat a bar or eat some chips or candy for lunch. That's what they're eating right now. And so they wanted, and the other one thing that we did not mention earlier is that we will be delivering to all of these plants. So we don't even want them to have to come out, get in their car. Sometimes, it could be raining, sometimes freezing, whatever, or too hot. They don't have to get in their car to come to us for their 30-minute break. We want to bring it to them, and so we will be doing delivery as well. So even in our calculation for employment, we didn't even count the delivery drivers. So we will be bringing in, a lot more employment to this area than all these other plants are currently.
And it's in-house delivery as well.
So, if I may, Mr. Chairman, I'm very interested that the agencies that you showed the comparison with. My first question would be, how many of these, their taxes are lower because they're under a payment in lieu of taxes, or they have a tax break, which may very well, because I cannot imagine a building being $2 million and we're only collecting $15,000 or $25,000 in taxes. So I don't feel that that's a fair comparison. I just want to share that maybe different. Renan may have already finished theirs, but I think they just got another one. So, you know, if you had gone through the industrial park, you probably have the same thing.
Right.
The other thing is, as I look at this topographically, the spot that you're talking about is at the end of Rehoboth Road that is on the Orchard Hill side. So you have already passed the industrial park. So I'm just really wondering where you're going to be able to get these diesel customers, because generally that's trucks. So, I mean, if someone's leaving out of the industrial park, I would think they would be not necessarily going down the Rehoboth Road to get gas. So I'm not really sure. I hear what you're saying, and I think that the idea and the concept is a good one. What my concern is that if we make the exception for the amount of property that you have your property on, then just because you haven't bought the property, right? You don't own the property. I don't see that on the tax record.
We have it.
So whoever the owner of the property is, they own the property. They knew it was 2.3 acres. So it should not be on us to figure out how that can work outside of our ordinance. That's all I'm saying. I think it's a wonderful idea. And I have to also say, I'm the skeptic, because people come up here and tell us everything, and as soon as the property is zoned that, the next, it'll be somebody else who's actually putting in the request. Nothing against y'all, I'm just speaking on how it has worked up here. Then there's somebody else altogether different who's actually doing it, and not you. So the story's been told, but when it comes to the actual thing, that's not what we see. So I want you to understand, it's nothing personal against you. I'm looking at your information, but I'm also looking at making an exception in your case means that we need to make an exception in other people's cases.
So that is the reason we also brought food. We wanted you to try it because our concept is food, and that's why we brought up the Douglasville, that we are bringing a complete restaurant complex. And over there too, they need something. They don't have upscale restaurants in the area. So everybody in Douglasville is excited about and we're going to actually break ground in a couple of months.
Oh, Douglasville.
Yeah. So, so yes, I mean, I don't know if there is anything you can put in there that we would be the ones having to do it. We have no intention of flipping this or doing any of those shady things. We want a restaurant, and that's why we brought you, like I said, the food, and we want you to know that we already have restaurants. So our concept is restaurant. It's just that we have to do other things, like in Douglasville, we are also doing a Marriott. So you have to have multiple things, otherwise it's difficult to just sustain.
To pay
Because
for itself.
construction and development have become so expensive that, before you could do it, now we can't. We just can't afford it. So that's the only reason we are doing it. But, if there is a zoning contingency that we have to be the ones developing it, we don't mind having that contingency.
We also are full-time developers, so the fact that if we did something shady like that, we're burning a bridge with Spalding County. And
Hey, I understand it. I'm just telling you what my experience has been. The other thing is, how many full-time employees do you plan to hire? Because you can't really compare yourself to Renai and Marukan, because they hire people for full salaries and benefits. And I don't know of very many full-time restaurants here who are actually paying people a full-time work salary and benefits. Most of the restaurants hire people part-time contractually, so yeah, the comparison for me doesn't work, because what you're talking about doing is not the same thing.
They would be all 40-hour employees. So
They would be
because
what?
They will all be there 40 hours a week. So they're all full-time employees. The employees that we put on the board were all full-time employees. We will have some part-time employees, but they're not even, calculated in the equation. Because, that's what we're comparing. Like you said, apples to apples, they have full-time employees, we have full-time employees.
Ready for a motion?
Yeah, just one, all right.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all,
What's
appreciate it.
the worst-case scenario, and I'm asking this, in terms of heaviness, smoke, traffic, what is the worst thing that could happen in PDD? What is the allowables?
But it just
I
depends on,
mean, can you put an automotive repair shop there? Can you put a car wash there? Can you put a chicken farm there? Can you, so that's what I'm trying to figure, because PDD can also be residential.
But it has to be for whatever it was pitched. It's like locked into that, it's locked into the plan of that P.
there are three kinds of PDD: PDD residential, commercial, and industrial. That's
correct.
And the PDD residential just doesn't come close to meeting the size requirements of that. So the one it comes closest to is PDD commercial, which is what they're trying to do.
All right.
I still didn't get my question answered. What's the worst case scenario?
Any kind of heavy manufacturing with vibrations, noise, and fumes.
All right, the question really and truly comes, you all can sit back down, thank you. The question really comes down to the comment that Commissioner Dutton made, which is, and Commissioner Flowers Taylor, which we have something that's breaking our rules, doesn't abide by our rules, but we have, what's the best use of this this piece of property? And both the recommendation from the staff and recommendation from the planning commission is to approve this as a variance to be able to do this, correct?
I said, this was a typical situation with a typical property size and all that going on, it would have been denial. However, this is a very unique parcel.
And that's what the variance system is for, so that if there's a weird situation.
Attorney, let me ask the question about precedent setting. This, if we do this, this is a precedent setting thing to be able to, other people, as Commissioner Flowers Taylor said, somebody comes in now with 1 acre and wants to do it and cites us as, hey, you all did it before. What's your legal opine?
Mr. Chairman, my take on this, if it is precedent, it's very narrow. One thing that has not been discussed either is that the property as it currently sits is in split zoning. It is PDD and AR as it sits right now. And additionally, the PDD zoning is consistent with the surrounding properties in the industrial park. To the west, and then again to the east is that Crouch Road, that abandoned right-of-way there. So we talk about exceptions, but this is one of those cases that it truly is a unique parcel. And that, to the flume there as well, by keeping this PDD and not going to the C1B, I believe it was C1B is what it was. The necessity of the flume amendment is questionable there because, again, it's staying within the zoning of the surrounding parcels there and is maintaining the employment characteristics. And then going to the issue of the acreage on the variance, our ordinance does lay out the criteria for granting a variance. That is discussed in the staff report, and I would say that this property does, in my opinion, meet that criteria.
Mr. Chairman, is it your opinion that we should change the way that we do business? Because still waiting for someone to show me what we have approved as a zoning first, and then went back and changed the future land use map.
Right down the road, in fact, on Rehoboth, wasn't in part of the industrial park, but we approved the people that came in to do the water reclamation thing. It's on Rehoboth, like it's a couple 100 meters from this site. That was a zoning variance that we gave. I don't know if it was PDD, but it was certainly something that didn't conform to the zoning where they were wanting to build, and they needed to come in just like this and ask for a variance, and we gave it to them just down the road. And yet no one today has brought up, oh, we've already set a precedent right down the road, like literally 200 yards down the road. So again, I'm not really in fear of that setting some sort of negative precedent. If we've got a weird little 2-acre lot that really can't be used for much anything else, that's half PDD already, that is in and adjacent to the industrial park and is designed to service the industrial park, that's exactly what we want there. I don't, again,
Not
I'm just one
servicing
vote.
the industrial park, servicing the community. But my question is about the future land use map. Are we setting a precedent by going, because it's convenient to rezone it to PDD, but that doesn't make it right now. It's the requirements for it is different in the future land use map. I have a problem with that. I want somebody to be able to show me where we have gone and done a zoning prior to changing the future land use map.
So to be clear, Commissioner, there's no proposed amendment to the future land use map.
I know that.
here,
That is why I'm
so-
fussing. Because when any other time that we change the zoning and it is conflicting with the existing future land use map, we have always changed the future land use map. And if the future land use map was not changed, then the zoning was moot.
So
So there is never going to be an exception to changing the rules that we have. I don't care if it is a small thing, but it still needs to follow the same rules that we follow for everything else. And nobody can show me where we have gone and made a zoning and went back later and changed the future land use map. Or we ever said, oh, it's the same thing, we don't have to worry with it. I'm not going to jail with y'all.
Okay. All right, any more discussion? All right, we have a motion. Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please
What's the
signify by,
motion?
excuse me.
Approve this.
Motion to
Motion.
approve with staff conditions. That's what my motion.
Motion to approve what? The zoning, there's two things.
Yes, we have to do them individually, all right? So
Correct. You have to
so
do
this
them
is-
individually.
To approve
This would be.
the application, and then we have to do the second one. This will be 2507Z
Thank you.
with staff conditions.
All right. We all square? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4, all opposed, 1.
Do you want to go ahead and do the motion for the second one? Or do you want to discuss it?
I'm ready
I
for,
said everything I had to say.
okay. All right, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve 2516V with staff conditions.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4, all opposed, like sign, 1. Thank you. Motion, both motions carry.
Motion to go into public hearing.
Would you like for me to, would you like for me to read them into the record first? All right. Mr. Chair, under public hearing, application 2513Z, Alan R. Mobley, owner, 0 High Falls Road, Griffin, Georgia 30224, located in land lot 209 of the Second Land District, parcel number 121-01008, consisting of 86.81 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from AR1 agricultural residential to R2 single-family residential to C1C manufacturing light for a data center. Application 2514Z, Alan R. Mobley, owner, 115 Alicia Drive, Griffin, Georgia 30224, located in land lot 208 of the Second Land District, parcel number 120-02016, consisting of 46.1 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from AR1 agricultural residential and R2 single-family residential to C1C manufacturing light for a data center. Application 2503S, Alan R. Mobley, owner, 0 High Falls Road, Griffin, Georgia 30224, located in land lot 209 of the Second Land District, parcel number 121-01008, consisting of 86.81 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a data center in conjunction with application 2513Z. Application 2504S, Alan R. Mobley, owner, 115 Alicia Drive, Griffin, Georgia 30224, located in land lot 208 of the Second Land District, parcel number 120-02016, consisting of 46.1 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a data center in conjunction with application 2514Z.
Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Do we have people who have signed up?
Mr. Chair, we do. We have 4 people who have signed up this evening for this application. The applicant has actually signed up, Stephen L. Jones.
Welcome back.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, my name is Stephen Jones. Here today on behalf of the applicant, Montana Property Group. My address is 1600 Parkwood Circle, Suite 200, Atlanta, Georgia, 30339. And I'm with the law firm of Taylor Duma. I have a presentation, Ms. Morales, if you wouldn't mind. See if I can operate the clicker. Mr. Chairman, I would like to take a moment to reserve some time for rebuttal, should that be necessary, based on further public comment. Thank you so much. As Dr. Ledbetter pointed out, you have 4 applications before you tonight. You have a rezoning, and then you also have 2 special exceptions. The rezoning is for just C1C for these properties, and then the associated special exception is for a data center campus on the property. Next slide, please. You can see an outline of the property here. They are in yellow. It's approximately 140 acres. It fronts on High Falls Road. It is also contiguous with the future airport site. Next slide, please. This is a zoom in of the property. Again, you can see that there are multiple transmission lines traversing the property. There are actually 4 transmission lines traversing the property. Next slide, please. It is also split zoned R2 to the front and AR1 to the rear. Next slide, please. As I said, these applications, and I'm presenting all 4 together tonight for you because I believe you've consolidated your public hearing as for a data center. What we'll get into is your comprehensive plan, which there's been some discussion about tonight, calls for this area specifically for economic development and employment. One of the priorities in the comprehensive plan before we even discuss the future land use map is in fact economic development and to promote job growth and cutting edge industries, as well as, and most importantly, expanding technologies. Next slide, please. Thank you so much. She knew where I was going with that. Here's an excerpt of the comp plan. Again, you've got 2 different character areas overlaid on this map. You have the employment area, which is that bluish purple color, as well as the new airport site with the subject property outlined in yellow. And then at the bottom in the key, you see those various character areas shown in yellow. She's way ahead. I don't even have to say next slide. In the employment character area, it is divided into 4 sectors, one of those being the new airport site you'll see highlighted in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And in that site, the comp plan contemplates opportunities for nearby complementary uses such as tech and e-commerce businesses. Next slide, please. Further, the comp plan goes to talk about primary land uses in the future airport area. One of those being tech and e-commerce, as well as industrial. At the Planning Commission, there was some discussion about the new airport overlay. Mr. Allen talked to Croy Engineering, and I don't want to usurp his staff report, but Croy Engineering is, I believe, the designer. They do municipal projects such as this, and it was the president of Croy that said, Greg Teague, that this site would comply with the overlay as well as the height restrictions there. Next slide, please. This is an excerpt from staff's report. This and the previous slide give you an overview or a feel of where this property sits in relation to the new proposed airport site. Next slide, please. I want to then look at the comp plan and the effectuation of various zoning districts that this board has imposed that are consistent with that comp plan employment area that you've seen. You'll see the purple is industrial zoned, the orange is PDD. You will see, if you'll remember the comp plan, that those zoning districts are being generally applied in the areas as shown on the future land use map as they track the new airport site and Highway 16. This map GIS actually hasn't been updated, but to the right of the leftmost orange along McDonough Road, those two squares have also been rezoned for employment uses. Next slide, please. Now we get to the specific use here. This is hard to grasp. There's a lot going on in this site plan because it does cover approximately 140 acres. But I'll get into more details as we go through, so don't dwell on this. But you will see it's a data center campus. We've got the uses towards the rear, the office uses, management facilities at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen where there is the access into the development, and a proposed substation to the left or the west. Next slide,
Oh,
please.
that substation is not going to be a building. That's going to be like for the tension power lines to come in to hook power up.
That's
Okay.
correct. That's correct.
So it's really the 3 main buildings and then 2 office buildings in the front.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. In that, so you'll see this dotted dashed black line. That is the driveway entrance into the development off High Falls. The blue lines are the transmission lines that traverse the property. The yellow, the solid yellow line is the office complex, and we've got some renderings that we'll go into later that kind of show that. The dotted yellow line towards the rear is the data center campus, and then we have proposed orange for a solar farm should or the ultimate user require that. It's not a ton of power, but you know, if Meta wants to be super green, then we've got a spot for them that's shown on there. Not that that's a user we can't identify a user due to contractual requirements, but you know, that is one that would want something like that. In the purple, you see an existing cell tower towards the northeast, towards the northwest, and then that proposed substation there is that larger purple. I do want to note that this facility, this data center campus, is going to be set back substantially from the road. If you'll see that green box at the bottom, that is all area but for the solar, potential solar area. That is all going to be green space where we're not going to develop inside the or around the existing transmission lines. Next slide, please. So that then just zooms in. It gives you a larger view of the actual data center site and the office buildings. Next slide, please. This is an aerial rendering to give you kind of a better view. You can see that existing preserved green space towards High Falls, and you can see how far set back that data center is. You can see closest to you on the screen the proposed substation, the existing cell phone tower, and then farthest away you can see the office complex. Next
Steve,
slide, please.
Steve, can we go back to that one? Sorry to interrupt you. Why would you cut down trees to put solar up when you have all that roof space?
Well, that's a good point. There's mechanical stuff that goes on the roof. And my understanding is you've got to have air conditionings and other
Sure.
sort of mechanical stuff. It's just 2 separate areas. Should the end user want to put additional solar up there, that's great. But you've got a new solar ordinance, which I think requires special exceptions for that as well. That's why we're not proposing this in this application. The solar component is just illustrative.
Okay, so that's not part of this today.
No, it's just an option.
But so this is to show them, hey, you could come back and ask later to add solar. Okay.
That's
so you're
correct.
not asking for that solar. We're not going to approving that solar is not on the table at all tonight.
That's not.
Okay,
Solar's not part of it.
I'm with you. Sorry.
No, fair question because that would require a special application for a special exception for a ground mounted solar facility under the solar ordinance, which this board recently adopted. You'll see here an artist's rendering of that proposed entrance. You'll see we'll have decorative fencing along High Falls, landscaping. You're going to have a secure guard shack. These facilities are quite secure, as you can imagine, so controlled access in and out. Next slide, please. This is just zoomed in. You can see we call it Project Spalding on the right. Obviously, the end user's name would be on the signage. You can see the data center far off in the foreground. Next slide, please. Rotating that view to the east, you can see then the landscaping with the office complex behind it. Next slide, please. I want to talk about ad valorem tax now. Data centers from an ad valorem tax perspective are a great driver because they are once constructed, low on traffic impact. They do not contribute to increase in the school population. They do not have a substantial increase in the requirement for EMS services or other sort of emergency services. But the value of them from a tax generation standpoint is not just the building itself, it's also the value of the personal property inside of the building. So we're looking at the building plus the internal computers. This is a calculation of what could be the ultimate value of the building and the personal property. Obviously, the tax assessor is going to have to value everything once constructed and what's inside of it. So, you know, give or
This
take.
is based on like-sized data centers?
Yes, Commissioner. So give or take a couple $100 million in either direction, but $1.875 billion would be an annual ad valorem tax to the county of $26.8 million. That's using the tax assessors. They have a calculator, the non-exempt property. You plug in the value and it spits out this number. Next slide, please. We then wanted to compare what that is an equivalent to various county budgets. Chairman, may I?
Keep going.
Thank you. Sorry. In terms of equivalent budgets, the overall county budget, and Dr. Ledbetter, if I did my calculations wrong, I didn't major in math, so you'll have to bear with me. But reading the 2025 fiscal year projected budget, we saw it at $71.1 million, which would be the ad valorem tax generated by this facility would be the equivalent of approximately 37% of the overall county budget. If we're carving out just law enforcement, jail-related emergency service type things, we calculated that at about 31.4, meaning that the tax generated by this facility would be approximately 85% of that budget. And then finally, if we look at schools, that budget's approximately 115.4 million, which means this would be approximately 23% of that budget. Next slide, please. There's data centers, there's always a question about power, right? Where's it coming from? When we look at the predominant power providers to this site, we have Georgia Power and MEAG. And I failed to mention I'm accompanied by Mira Sutton today with Montana Property Group, the applicant. And we've had discussions with the various providers, and the response has been, get entitled, and then we'll talk. MEAG is doing a reverse RFP, which is, hey, go get entitled, get zoned, come back to us. We will then put all these projects in a hopper and make a decision. Georgia Power generally follows the same pathway. Before you can get to an electrical services agreement, you generally have to be entitled. But as I mentioned in the first couple slides, there are 4 separate transmission lines on this site. So given our engineer's initial due diligence, we feel like there is more than ample and adequate power. I know that there have been data centers in surrounding communities where there have been concerns about condemnations to serve the site. Those properties were not traversed by 4 transmission lines. So we don't think that that is an issue here. But again, to get to the commitment to power, the power providers are asking, or at least indicating, that they want to see entitlements first. Next slide, please. Water, sometimes that also comes up with data centers. In discussions with the county, there was a strong preference for a closed loop system, which does not consume water to the extent that a non-closed loop system would. We've got a water commitment letter from the Spalding County Water Authority for 16,500 gallons per day. That's the equivalent of about 47 homes. Our sewer outfall is not going to be the same equivalent because we're going to have some loss, some retention, but that's about the equivalent, 47 homes. So in terms of, you hear some stories about data centers and water, the closed loop system, we eliminate that potential pitfall. Next slide, please. Finally, sewer. Septic or City of Griffin, or potentially Spalding County Water and Sewer Authority. If we can get there, that would require some territory swaps. But again, we're looking at about 16,500 gallons per day, equivalent of 47 homes. Going to be somewhat less than that because you always lose some water, right? People drink it. But that's where we are there. So we have multiple options. We've been in discussions with the city of Griffin regarding sewer. Given the low wastewater outflow that this facility will produce, they didn't indicate any issue to us. We actually discussed how we would get to their sewer pipe, and we're confident there. But also, given that our water outfall is going to be, mostly domestic uses, right? Kitchens and bathrooms and things like that. We have a backup for septic should something catastrophic happen with the city sewer, which isn't going to, but we have a contingency. Next slide, please. Finally, traffic. From an overall constructed standpoint, we're looking at peak AM trips of about 178 to 204, and that's using traffic engineers' codes based on the size of the building. Staff, in the DRI process, your Public Works Department tendered comments to Three Rivers Regional Commission regarding traffic resulting from this project. They suggested recommended conditions and recommended measures to mitigate traffic during construction and after construction, mainly dedicated, traffic study for the construction traffic and ways to mitigate that. If there's a litany of conditions, we've consented to those. GDOT also had its own thoughts on traffic, which was basically to look to your county Public Works Department. And all that said, the applicant is fine with the proposal that your Public Works staff has devised to address any traffic which could result during construction or afterwards. Next slide, please. I just wanted to show this slide. It's a bit noisy, but to show you the proximity towards other related uses, and then to also highlight to the north is the future airport. With that, Commissioners, and Chairman, should you have any questions, I'd be happy to address those at this time. If you have any questions of the applicant, we'll see if we can address those as well. If not, I would appreciate the opportunity to address any comments or concerns that may come up in further public comment.
I have a question. I noticed before the main entrance that's near the end of Walker's Mill Road, there are 4 curb cuts that will be coming from that property onto High Falls Road.
Eva, would you mind going back to the site plan? Let's come forward a few. Keep coming, one more, maybe 2 more. There you go. Commissioner Flowers Taylor, we're going to have only one entrance into the development of High Falls. Next slide, Eva. If you see that dot, it's a Morse code, right? Dash, 2 dots, black line. That is our entrance to the development. You see to the east, there are some other properties which have curb cuts on High Falls. That's not for us. So our only access in and out is going to be through that main project driveway that we showed the rendering for with the gate. Eva, would you mind coming forward to the rendering of the gate? So see right here?
Right there is where I saw the curb cuts. Is that not High Falls Road to the right?
Yes, ma'am, it is. Those are for existing uses. There is an easement that runs back to the cell tower, but we will not be using that. That's for the lessee of the cell tower. So for the proposed data center site, the only access that you're going to have is to the north, where you see the, or I guess to the west, where you see the, yes, that's correct, the office building.
That's all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Let's make sure we got one entrance, one exit.
That's correct, and that's for security. Because this is a secure facility where you have to have a guardhouse, gatehouse. So once constructed, you're only going to want one way in and out to maintain that security.
I'm concerned about the same thing we did with Tomachichi.
With the fire exit?
Yes, some way, because if something happens right there on that one entrance, and if something is happening inside, we can't get to it. We can't get law enforcement, we can't get EMS, we can't get anybody in there if a bad guy decides he's going to do something about that.
Chairman, what I think we could do, subject to check the underlying documents, is put an emergency access like you're referring to through that cell tower easement. If not, we could co-locate it next to that.
We all agree with that. I'm looking for just a head nod in that. David, do you have any real issues with that as we kind of push this in there?
I think it's a good idea.
If not through the cell tower, which again, we'd have to check the underlying documents, we'd just go to the east interior, but we can provide one. It's just a matter of
That's the
where.
question. And David, you got to put that in there when we get ready to do it. Okay. Ms. Gwen, did you have another comment?
No,
All right, I wanted to talk about, when we
We
did
have,
this.
we have more who have signed up.
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. All right, Stephen, thank you. Let's get the next people.
Thank
I'm
you, Chair.
sorry.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Mr. Burns?
We have flexibility on time, a little more than the usual 3.
Start talking.
Greg Burns, 5451 West McIntosh Road. Thank you, Commission. I just want to, I guess, start by answering a question like, why would I, who live on the other side of the county, care about this? It doesn't impact me directly, and I think it also speaks to one of Mr. Jones' preemptive constitutional objections, which is, am I an aggrieved citizen? And the answer is yes, because what I want to argue is that these data centers come with costs that affect everyone in the county. And we stand here, or you sit there, about to make a decision that is financially probably the biggest one this county has ever had. And so I want to take point by point some of the things that were just said and address things both in the short term and the long term, both the good and the potential bad, using my expertise, again, to one of his constitutional objections, which is my area of expertise, which happens to be decision making. So a brief history of how we got here in the first place. And the answer is because the Georgia legislature several years ago passed tax abatements for data centers and various high-tech industries, so they do not pay any sales and use tax. UGA did an analysis of this fairly recently to determine, does that really even make a difference to these companies building data centers and their end users? And they couldn't come to a solid conclusion because, I mean, let's be honest, the amount of money that we're talking about, the sales and use tax is pennies in most cases. However, the conclusion was that yes, it makes a little bit of difference, and given kind of the large landscape of the United States and all the places you might put a data center, it helps. So that's why Georgia has now become the #1 state in the country for data center build-outs. We live in the belt kind of south of metropolitan Atlanta, which is prime real estate for these data center expansions because of the proximity to Atlanta and all the high-tech talent there. And in the south, particularly because our landscape is flattening out as opposed to the north where it's mountainous and you can't really build these large data centers. So that is why I mentioned in probably the last time I spoke to you, you have people from all over the country, I think I used another term for it then, coming here to build in our county, who don't live here. I will leave it at that. So what I really want to focus on is the question of sustainability. And what I tell my students, sustainability, as the UN defines it, is meeting the needs of the present while protecting the needs of future generations. I think this has a direct line actually to the biblical idea of dominion, where we are, in fact, the stewards of our land and have the responsibility to take care of it, not just for meeting our needs ourselves, but for protecting future generations as well. So I will start with the good parts of this proposal. Obviously,
Just
it's
a
the tax.
second. Now, we have, as I understand it, we're supposed to have 20 minutes and 20 minutes, right?
That's correct.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, we did 20 and 20, 20 pro, 20 con for the discussion. We have 2 other people who are going to speak, and it's up to the board as to whether or not you would like for Mr. Burns to continue and use the time.
Maybe we hear from the other two, and then whatever was left, you come back up.
Okay,
Just spitballing. I mean, if it's 20 and 20, I'm just.
yes, it's 20 and 20. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah.
Did I just exhaust three, did I go through 3 minutes already?
You did, yes, sir.
You did. Yes.
Sorry, I went kind of under the assumption I'd have a little
Okay.
more than that.
Let's take 2 more minutes and then we'll slide on and then we'll see
Very-
if we have time to come back to you.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Okay, so the good part is obviously the tax revenue. That $28 million, a third of the county budget, sounds great. That valuation is kind of to be determined. Depends on what goes in that building. It depends on who assesses it. It's computer equipment. Anyone who tries to depreciate computer equipment in their business knows that it's a 5-year depreciation schedule. So I don't know how Meta or whoever's gonna do that, but that's gonna be a declining valuation very rapidly. And I'm not sure how our tax assessor is going to keep up with that. Will it happen right away? No, they gotta put the property there in the first place. So that's at least 2 years away. Will there be jobs created? Yes. While the center is being built, in the end, hard to say. It doesn't take many people to keep things going. My question actually to the council is, suppose we do get that third of the county budget, or whatever it will be in 2 years from now, is that actually going to result in a millage rate decrease? I think, you know, that the population here would probably expect that. I have my doubts. So the bad, I think, we can talk about the power. I'll reserve that for later. I actually just kind of want to focus on coming back to the same point about that 1/3 tax figure. It sounds good, but the county will be owned by whoever lives in that building. They will call the shots. When one company pays 1/3 or more of the county's bills, that is a tremendous amount of power you all are handing over to one entity. What happens when they leave? I don't know. I'll stop there, Mr. Chairman, and I have other things if there's time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. County Manager?
Kay Wimpy. Sorry, Wimpy.
I'm Kay Wimpy. I live at 164 South Walkersville Road. I come to say that you as commissioner should say no to all data centers in Spalding counties. Many other counties are already saying no to these centers because of what they do. Data centers bring excessive use of resources such as water and power. So how are your residents of Spalding County going to absorb the increased cost of their power and water bills due to this data center? It will happen. As they use power, Georgia Power is going to raise my rate. The water department is going to raise my water bill. Data centers, per studies, are also harmful to the environment with carbon emissions that cause increased pollution. The dirty air in turn causes issues for folks with respiratory issues and contributes to increased respiratory illnesses. Further, data centers run large capacity air conditioner systems due to the heat generated by their servers. Now, I don't know about y'all, but when Caterpillar silencer went out for over a month, I listened to a hum starting at 7 o'clock every morning till 7 o'clock at night, constantly. To the point this county people were asking, what is that hum? So are you going to make them put a silencer on their data center? And if not, are you going to have them run pipes to each of your houses so you get to listen to the hum all day, every day? Data centers are not big employment centers either. They may employ when they're building, but typically they only employ maybe 20 to 50 employees. What is that doing for our county in the long run? Also, let's talk about fires. They have computer equipment. When computer equipment catches on fire, what does it do? It emits dangerous toxins in the area. You're putting this right next to the brand new airport. You've already subjected this area out there to 16 warehouses plus a new airport. I'm gonna put a plug in about the airport. Right out to the one that we currently have. If you make the new one look like the old one, it is an eyesore. I hope we do better. You're taking away the quality of residents living peacefully in that area. You are giving no consideration to there are people still living in that area in homes. So think of all the emissions with 16 plus warehouses, plus a new airport. Now you want to add in a data center. Do this county a favor. Quit looking at the money. That is what they always say. Well, we're going to do $300 million for the county. That's what the High Falls folks said when y'all approved over 8 plus warehouses. Then when you start talking about it, well, no, it may only generate maybe 30 million. These developers do not care about this county. They flash these numbers of money, but they do not care. They come in, they build, they leave it, and then they leave this county in ruin. So I ask you, please, do not agree to vote yes for these data centers. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay.
David Lynch.
David Lynch, 185 North Walkers Mill Road. Just a few things about the data center, both of them, both locations, the noise they create, these generators. As she said earlier about the Caterpillar and the noise, I think there's another company, I call it on the hill, but way up 16 closer in town from us. About 5 every morning they key in some type of generator. It sounds like 10 freight trains running, and it goes all morning. And, you know, I leave, go to work, but me and the cat have to listen to this hum off in a distance, where this place would be a quarter mile as a crow flies. And I can't imagine when their generators kick in, and with a big facility like that, I know it's a home generator might key in once a month to keep it running, you know, self-check. Those probably on a daily basis. I don't know, just a thought. But, yeah, more noise. Cause my dog to wake up during the night. Several jurisdictions all around metro area I was looking online have halted approving data centers, and they different ones, different reasons. I'd like to look into that some more. Exactly why? Some of them are logical, like Coweta can't supply the water, but that's coming up soon. They will have the capacity to supply. The wastewater going out with the heavy metal and other types of chemicals, possibility of negativity there. For the size of the buildings, the jobs that'll, after construction, all the workers leave and then they have the permanent employees, that's big. You know, what's that, 3 million or whatever? And 89 people or whatever his chart was showing, just a precious few folks compared to the square footage of the structures. Food for thought. The solar panels, those poor little solar panels compared to the power usage of the other structures, those solar panels might run the parking lot, the street lights in the parking lot. That's a joke. Sorry guys, I ask you vote no on this, and needs to be a lot more research. I'm really uneasy with the potentials of all the big bragging of the tax money the county's going to make on it. End story, I don't think it's going to be that great.
Thank you, David.
Mr. Chair, that's all who have signed up for this application.
20 minutes gone. They talked there 20 minutes.
We can pull him up for the rest
I think Mr. Burns has a few more minutes if you wanted to bring him back up.
Let him finish.
Mr. Burns?
Greg, do you have a couple more?
Yeah, 5 more minutes, yeah.
So I want to address the thing about the power. Uh, the issue with the power is statewide, and this is the issue with the Public Service Commission elections that are going to happen this fall. The data center bit is forefront on that. That is kind of beyond our local jurisdiction. I do want to point out that the dangers are not just increasing electric bills and having the cost of these build-outs shouldered on other residents and other businesses in the state. Part of the issue, and this is more local, is what the data centers do. It's not so much that they're sucking down all the power. The issue is that their needs for power are so pristine that if the grid can't supply what they want or need, then they go on to backup power. So they will have generators. That's the problem. And this is a known issue. In fact, there was a report from the North America Electric Reliability Corporation. That's kind of the industry for all of the electrical providers in the country, where they addressed this just last month. The issue is when these centers go offline, it results in a surge going the other direction. So they likened it to one nuclear power plant coming online all of a sudden. And that's what trips the circuit breakers, and that's what leads to blackouts. And it has happened. It happened in Virginia, which is the other main site for these things. And so those are the sorts of things that I don't think are adequately addressed. And frankly, from what I've heard from Mr. Jones, I don't even know if there's a client yet. We don't know who's going to build this. We don't know who's going to occupy it, let alone what's going to be done there. We have our code of ordinances, but let's be honest, if they violate anything in the ordinance in terms of the plan that's being proposed, what recourse does the county have? Are we going to send out our code officers and fine them $1,000 a day? Yeah, nobody's going to care about that. So there's really no recourse that the county has if they don't do what they say, other than suing the richest companies in the world. So thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, again, Stephen Jones, on behalf of the applicant, the law firm of Taylor Duma. I want to address some things that you've heard. There are some questions about rules and studies and due diligence. Well, as you know, your staff has developed a thorough staff report here that has a litany of conditions which are incorporating a future data center ordinance which will come before this board. The applicant has consented to self-impose those provisions, which will be, again, part of a future ordinance, which I believe is going to be proposed before this board. We've consented to those conditions. Your staff has done the research and drafted an ordinance that addresses many of these concerns and addresses some of the issues which were raised. Many of those things, or one of those things, includes decommissioning standards. There was a discussion, too, from a few folks about consumption of power. Mr. Penland and I were actually talking about it before the meeting because he and I both practice at the Georgia Public Service Commission. In January of this year, the Public Service Commission voted to allow Georgia Power to implement rules so that large load customers do not cause cost shifting or upward pressure on other ratepayers. So the concern that the data centers coming online will increase electrical rates for Spalding County consumers has already been addressed at the Public Service Commission. And I was glad Mr. Burns brought up the Public Service Commission, because having sat in the IRP hearings recently, if I had $1 for every time data center was said, I'd buy lunch for the room, right? So, that is an issue that Georgia Power and the Public Service Commission have addressed over the last 6 months and have actually implemented rules to take care of that and to address that concern. Another power-related issue that was raised was generators. As you know, data centers require tremendous power. That's why we've chose this site to locate it along transmission lines that can provide that necessary power. I believe another commenter said that the solar panels would be inadequate should this board at a later date approve and should an end user request those. That's correct. That's why we're on a transmission line. And that's another reason why the concern over generator noise is unfounded. Those are backup generators. The generators will only be used if the power goes out. And if the power goes out across 4 transmission lines, we have bigger problems than the hums of generators. There was some questions about, or comments about, quality of life, and I think general consternation about the comprehensive plan's long designation of this and other areas for employment. We do understand that concern, and that's why we've self-imposed this substantial green buffer that you see separating the property behind the transmission lines and providing that natural screening, which you see here and saw in those renderings. Regarding water and wastewater outfall, you would utilize a closed loop system. Your staff has that discussion in their staff report. So the water consumption issues as well as potential contamination issues on wastewater are also unfounded. With that, Commissioner, Chairman, and Commissioners, should you have any other questions, I'd be happy to address those, but I would ask you to vote consistent with staff's recommendation and the Planning Commission recommendation for approval. And I do want to finally note that the applicant, as I mentioned, does consent to staff's recommended conditions of approval, including your Public Works Department's recommended conditions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephen.
Can I ask what those conditions are specifically?
Yeah, David?
Because I know that we've spoken about
Yes.
several, but I just want to make sure that.
All right.
Do you want to come out of public hearing
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
we can go
yes,
into staff
yes.
report?
All right,
Motion
do I
to come out of public.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor to come out of public hearing?
Gwen.
Raise your hand. I'm sorry. All right, 5-0. We're out of public hearing. We're back into regular business for us. David, we're talking about what conditions have you put on this thing?
So even though we did lump these all together with the public hearings and all, there is a separate staff report for the rezoning versus the special exception for the actual data center. So I'll read out the rezoning staff conditions right now. Number 1, all measures required by the DRI report shall be implemented, and those mainly concern construction traffic. Number 2, property shall be rezoned to C1C only for the data center campus. Number 3, all Spalding County code standards for data centers shall be complied with. That's the point of clarification. You're not having a new code come in front of you soon. You already have one passed in December. We're having some changes to it coming up to you soon, but you already have a data center code standard from last December. And number 4, all airport overlay zone height restrictions shall be adhered to. And number 5, all county buffer and landscaping requirements shall be adhered to as well. And these are actually updated, I'm sorry, from the staff report I had on here. These have gone through several changes. The only thing else, no, that's correct, what I had on there. So.
All right, let's talk about some of these. Last time we were here, we talked about screening. We talked about hills or
Berms.
up stuff on top. Is that what we talked about? Was 10 foot, 10 foot, 10 foot, 10 foot up, across 10 foot with evergreens or something like that that are always there, and then 10 foot on top of that?
You could certainly have that if you wish. However, with this site, as opposed to the smaller office part we were talking about, and we'll talk about again tonight, they're going to preserve a lot of trees on this property. And then also the buildings are set back way off the property lines themselves. They're not as tight as the office part buildings we talked about are on that property. So there's a substantial amount of tree cover that needs to be saved on here that they indicated they want to save. If you wish, you could have a berm planting if you want, but this site is very large, so it might be kind of, the berm plantings and the berm might be kind of dwarfed by the scale of this site. But you could certainly have a provision in there to have a tree protection plan to save swaths of trees that are on the outside and the perimeter.
Okay, is this on all 4 sides?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a requirement for so many feet of setback with natural barriers and stuff, right? They're
Yes.
adhering to that.
I mean, I want to make sure this is trees that are going to be not dead in the winter.
So my concern, Mr. Chairman, is that there are residential properties backing up to this development. And there's homes where the backside of them are on Tanglewood Trail. I don't really see, North Walker's Mill Road where it comes into there. It's supposed to be somewhere on that end, on that same end where their entry is supposed to be. And then on the end that's closer to East Griffin in itself, certainly on High Falls, there's a residence there. And I'm looking at one tract, that's 86 acres. The other tract is 40 acres, correct? 46 acres.
Yes.
So along the 46 acre tract, there is frontage, there is, residences all along that. And then it looks like there's a residence on, it's hard to see, map's so small.
There's several courts there with some duplexes and things.
Right, so my concern is just that in places where there are residences, there needs to be some sort of sound berm and also visual berm. Now I know on the very top end of this, up at the area near the Troop D Road, that area is, from the Troop D Road, it goes uphill and then it comes back down sharply. So according to what the elevations are, you know, if it's on the end that's close to Central Lake Circle, then, you know, you probably won't be able to see it from the road. But, you know, my first concern would be making sure that the residents have a barrier. The other thing that I have a concern about, and we talked about that, is a noise pollution. I've never been at a data center where I have rode by there at 7 in the morning or 8 o'clock at night. And I would be pissed if I was hearing a hum. I don't know that we know that that's the case for every single one of them, but I listed that as one of my concerns. You talked a little bit about the fire issue. I think that it's important that we make sure that emergency entrance is always there. Whatever we do, when we allow commercial or industrial development adjacent to individual residences, we should always consider the quality of life. What I mean by that, we should always consider that people are not used to hearing noises all day. People are not used to seeing light all day. Overhead lighting. So, I think it's a great idea. I just think that there needs to be more tweaking and more. I will feel more assured that if we are doing a better job at making sure that the residential areas are protected. And that's why I was asking where North Walker's Mill Road was. I think the lady that spoke said that,
It's way to the east.
is it on the other side?
It's way, I mean, it's like,
So it's not adjacent to
No,
that.
no.
It's down past Barrel Road, right?
yeah, you got
Okay.
like Suplo and all this kind of stuff.
So,
And all that's going
so
away.
my
There's gonna be
concern
a-
is for those residents that are living adjacent to this property, especially the ones that are on High Falls Road. I love it that they're planning not to cut the trees down, but if at that spot where they're developing is up here and people's houses are here, so for me, that needs to be better worked out.
David, you've looked at the noise issue. How are you handling it?
Well, one thing that I mentioned, the ordinance you guys passed in December, there's 3 specific changes that are coming up to you for adoption soon, and they can certainly be incorporated into this if you approve it. One was a closed loop system for the water, which they've already indicated they have. As far as the noise is concerned, in the revised ordinance, there's an acoustic wall requirement for helping to stifle the noise. So that is something that we can definitely, even though it hasn't been adopted by this board yet, it can certainly be put in these conditions. The other one was all the utility availability letters, which is fine. But yes, we do have another standard we're introducing to help with the noise situation. One thing to consider about this area, is about to be and will forever be dominated by the new airport. And you don't have a viable property here agriculturally, residentially, and probably not even commercially. So it's gonna have to be some kind of light industrial use like this, something to that effect, to be on the periphery of the airport. Other viable uses are not gonna be realistic due to the proximity of the airport here. A lot of the airport requirements will help with this, such as the lighting. It can't be super bright because it's going to interfere with the planes. It's going to have to be night sky friendly lighting anyway to go along with the airport. I've had required in the special exception approval conditions. I mentioned the landscaping and buffering in there. Certainly, we can have a robust plan that protects a lot of trees, especially along the residential parts like that. So that's, I think, something we can work out there. So lighting should not be a problem. The trees should not be a problem. Noise, we can help with the acoustic walls, but you're still gonna have jet plane noise as well. So it's kind of it's a complementary use to the airport.
I absolutely agree with that portion. I'm excited about where we're looking at putting this as opposed to lots of other places where it would be a huge issue for us to be able to do that. And absolutely, I want those things put in there for us to be able to go forward with it. I appreciate Stephen's comment about we'll build the thing, or we'll get it all ready to go according to our part there.
There's also in the approval conditions, there's a robust decommissioning process, which will be part of that code as well, but it's already in these conditions. And it's been talked about in the meetings past with citizens, and I do understand it. What if data centers aren't a thing in 10 years and this goes away? Well, you have a decommissioning process for the stuff that's outside, but there's no reason those 3 buildings right there, 3 very nice industrial buildings, cannot be retrofitted to something else. So it's not like a solar farm with 50 acres of panels and you gotta remove everything on there. You still have 3 industrial buildings there. So
I have another question. Looking at that map that you have up there, the left side of that, that's where the left side of their property is just where, is that an easement?
Yeah.
That is next to that?
Yeah, that's the cell tower. So that's the cell tower easement, and then this is like power lines.
So what are the closest residents to that? Or is that wooded
These
area beyond that?
well, you have some, off of High Falls Road, you have Alicia Court and several other courts with some duplexes right there at the very front. That's the main ones. You do have, of course, some scattered throughout the back and on the west side, but the closest ones are those duplexes along Alicia Court and the other courts.
So,
Yeah, those houses right there on the bottom are.
so do we have a picture of what the elevation looks like from the street? Now, I know you showed us a picture of what it looks like if you're standing in front of the building. If I'm standing on High Falls at the railroad crossing, I will see something. What will I see from there? What will I see from?
Go to the front gate.
Is that question making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Okay.
this will be the picture. So if you look down the road, you'll see the building.
But this,
That's their driveway looking into the property.
right, but where this is, and I mean, they can fill it up with a lot of dirt, but where this is, where they have this plan is a big hole. I mean, it's at the bottom of a hill like this. So I'm looking at it from High Falls Road. From High Falls Road, do I just see an open space and big buildings sitting up on top of the hill? Because that's on the back side.
I hope not.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would like to know what these elevations are, what they look like from High Falls Road, not from the front of the building.
Definitely gonna have
It's not a deal breaker for me, but I think it's very important that before we solidify anything, we have a better idea of what it will do. Because my concern is, I live right up the street from that. And so I know that the community is changing, but I'm concerned that the people who choose to stay there will not be negatively impacted because we want to have a data center in a place that probably nothing else will ever go there.
Well, no, the screening is extremely important to me.
And there will
However,
definitely
whether
be,
we do something with hills, I don't want people to be able to see this almost at all.
you will see some, of course, but it cannot be on top of a hill due to the airport requirements.
Correct.
You cannot have a tall hill and then have a 45-foot tall building on top, and you're gonna conflict with the airport requirements.
No, but you know it's about 90 feet from the bottom of that ravine, right where you're talking about where the entrance is, to where there's solid dirt. So that's gonna be significant, because I'm pretty sure they're not gonna build a building down in that hole. So I would like to be able to see what that actually looks like.
Yeah,
And have the elevation so that we can know that if High Falls Road is at 23 and the top of the building is gonna be at 98.
Yeah, I am planning, my vision is, we're not seeing this. We're seeing trees from the.
Mostly obscured.
All the roads, and there are green trees that are gonna be there full-time to be able to do that. I have, one of the reasons so everybody understands that I'm spending so much time on this is we've got some more of these that are being asked, developers are coming to us to talk about, I think. And if we mess up on this one, we'll probably mess up on the next one. So my issue is to make sure that we do everything just right this time, so that when the next one comes along, we have a basic template that we can follow that, hey, we did it this way, we looked at it, and these minor changes are needed to be able to do it. All right,
I got another question. So when we're looking at thank you, elevations. When we're looking at this project as a whole.
There's already a berm there. That's neat.
Where?
So it's
There's the parcel on the
844.
left too.
and then 168.
Yeah, that one.
So that's where the solar panel went. So there'd be about here. So there's a 20-foot hill.
The solar panel's gonna be back here.
No, it's right here.
No, that's the first side of it.
No, that's the.
It looks like
transmission
where
station
the
is.
hole is, the lower elevation will be where the management building is located.
Yeah.
So-
So the lowest.
so-
will be
And you're
here.
right, it
Right,
looks
but the
like it's
actual
about,
factories are gonna be here. That's 876.
yeah, it looks like it's
They'll
about
flatten all that
even
out, 'cause it's gotta
from
go.
the roadway back to where the three large buildings
So
will be.
what I can tell you is that where we're seeing 888 and 860 down at High Falls Road, it's not telling us a 1-inch end what that elevation is, which I'm saying is probably 6. Just,
Well, no,
pulling out a number, not really.
Yeah, it's 860 there at the road where their entrance will be.
Right, but from the road, High Falls Road is sitting up on top of where the bottom of this is. If you come down High Falls Road, you got to look down in a hole
Yep.
to see that spot.
all right.
I think that's good for the sightline, because if you look, it starts at, 860, where these houses are is 890, 904, and then where the building's gonna be is 848, 824. You know what I'm saying? They'll flatten that out to that, and then you've got an 860 between there. So it's only gonna be a 2-story building, because it can only be so tall, and so it's already 45 foot, 50 foot lower already. How tall is a 2-story building? But then even with that, you're gonna have this hill here and then trees on top of it.
This.
So you'll
part
be
right
able to see
there.
straight down here and see it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But like
that's
from here,
840.
you should be able to see.
My issue is I don't wanna see it.
I hear you.
That's.
I think it's unreasonable for it to be invisible, but I mean, like, I don't want it to be a big wall like you
Yeah.
got on 155 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
So
It's not gonna slap you in the face.
what?
yeah.
What are the requirements for parking? I heard several comments. The most that they're gonna hire is 50 people, 100 people for buildings this size, because it looks like there's lots of parking spaces. If they're gonna hire 50 people, why do they need 200 parking spaces? I mean, David, what's the number for parking spaces there?
That's a good question, because we don't really have data centers in our code. I do see, yes, around the management buildings, there's the most of the parking, and then there's drives around the other buildings, but not really parking.
So the people that work up in the other buildings, where's the parking for them?
I
And,
mean,
and I'm just saying, if we're saying that they're only gonna generate 50, generally 50 or 60 people working there, if they're maxed out,
I think people are gonna park here, you see like the parking lot there, and then they'll use like on-site vehicles to get to the ones that they need. to
Probably
get
even
to.
golf carts, things like
Yeah,
that to
golf
go up there.
You see,
trucks.
that's the parking spots, and then they move on their internal stuff.
okay, so,
You know, they
so
park
that's,
their vehicles
that's,
there. and-
that's what I'm trying to figure out, how much parking is associated with that?
It looks like 98 is what I'm counting.
And is that based on the square footage of that building in the front? Because clearly there's gotta be a place for trucks to come in, or they don't have trucks or anything, no supplies, everything will come to the front office.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I mean, once it's built, when they're building it, obviously, there'll be dump trucks and all kinds of shenanigans, but like,
Now, I went over to Fayette and had an opportunity to talk to David's counterpart over there about the one they're building. This was a real mess for when they were building. They could not believe, they thought they understood. This is big time, they're coming in to do things in a short period of time, and there is a lot of construction stuff that has just jammed them all up that they weren't prepared for. But that's a different issue than what we're talking about. All right, David, do you have the things that we need to do from what we've talked about?
I believe so. You were talking about the fire entrance, and then
Yep.
you're talking about I guess a robust tree protection plan.
Yes.
What else were you adding? I don't remember.
I think we should go ahead as a condition and add those acoustic walls.
Yes.
Or for the generators. And then the night sky friendly lighting. I know that's gonna come in the data center, ordinance. for
We
all
have a
future-
lighting
but
ordinance
like,
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, we've already got a lighting on.
We have a
But
lighting
personally, I think all of our lighting should be night sky friendly.
It is.
Mine-
It is.
It is.
We have a very robust
on
lighting
everything
ordinance.
for all lights. That was my first major, was astronomy. I'm a little partial.
So is anyone addressed, I know you said that we talked about power usage, the city of Griffin, well, nobody's really committed to this.
Correct. They won't get a commitment letter until after they are rezoned.
So, the thing that Mr. Burns talked about, and is I also read an article that he sent us, and I asked one of the commissioners who were from Fayetteville at one of our last meetings about it. There was a big snafu
Yes.
that happened when the data center either shut down or went to their emergency power, and it messed up everybody's electricity around. What are we doing different that's protecting the community in general?
An issue that Fayette County had, my sister-in-law's on the Peachtree Board of Commissioners. One of the issues they had was they looked for a space next to a highway, and so it's on 54. And surrounding it is a lot of high-end roads and no high-end power lines. So they had to eminent domain people's backyards and run high-tension power lines to these people's backyards. And so that was one of the first things I said is, we are not doing that.
Correct.
Like, we're not, they had to eminent domain people's backyards to run a high-tension power line. So even though, okay, I might get the fair market value of the yard, I've still got this power line. I don't want to live here anymore. So that said, that was one of my requirements. Say, hey, if they're coming, they've got to be on a power line. And this one's on 4. So they'll be able to grab straight off. The one in Fayette has no acoustic dampening, has no walls at all. Their generators are just sitting out right there, frankly, on the side where the houses are. And because of the way that they've had to sort of route these transmission lines, their generators kick on more often than they probably want them to. Whereas, I think Steven said it best, if these high tension power lines fail, these are huge transmission lines, like, there's a real problem. Like, if power doesn't go down these lines, like, we're in, it hitting the fan kind of situation, almost apocalypse type situation. This is, if these power lines go down, like, all the Griffin runs out of power. Like, this is a huge, bigger deal than just the emergency generators kicking on. You know what I mean?
So I don't understand that enough, and that's what my concern is that if there is a potential for that, I hear what you're saying about the power lines are right there, but whatever caused them to have to either shut down and go to emergency power and then have it affect the rest of the community, not just the people that they had to, do eminent domain with. I don't, you know that was a problem. What are we doing to not have it, is kind of where I am.
Okay. Now, is anybody ready to say yes to this without the additional stuff written into it?
I am,
Okay.
absolutely.
David, you know the stuff, you've got the stuff we said that
Yeah,
we
and
wanted added into it.
I think for clarity, I'm going to, if you approve it, the final list of conditions in the ordinance you'll have to approve on a second reading will have combined the rezoning and the special exception conditions into one, so just.
All right, and we're
Well,
talking,
this would be a rezoning ordinance, so all of the conditions would be
Yes.
added into the rezoning
The actual
ordinance, which would come back to you for consideration.
are we talking about the 24th?
No, no, I don't think.
It'll be the 1st of August.
It
Okay.
would.
At best, yeah.
All right.
Right? No, it's okay. All right, can I go through
Mr. Chair, I believe you've got 4 votes that will be required for this. Would it be all right if I read each of these into the record for consideration?
Yes, and everybody get ready to think through what we're getting ready to vote on. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chair, number 5, consideration of application 2513 Zulu, Alan R. Mobley, owner, 0 High Falls Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30224, located in land lot 209 of the Second Land District, parcel number 121010008, consisting of 86.81 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from AR1 agricultural residential and R2 single-family residential to C1C manufacturing light for a data center.
Do we want to do one at a time?
We have to do them one at a time. Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion
Motion to approve
with,
with staff conditions as discussed tonight and
all right,
to
and
tonight.
David, you have those ready to go. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I'd like to go, I've got a,
Go.
I want to talk about, this kind of goes for all 4 of these, obviously. So when we were down in Savannah, when we went through the ACCG, there was a lot of, I spoke to a lot of these folks, hunted them down and said, hey, talk to me about data centers. And they said, man, they're great except for this and this. And then somebody else will say, they're great for, we ran into these 2 problems. And so we've been working on how do we overcome those problems? How do we make sure that we get the good and not the bad? Swallow the worm and spit out the hook. The issues that we've been talking about are like the actual land clearance, right? I mean, I'm pretty partial to trees. However, this is already zoned for that. This is already zoned. Something's coming there. It's going to be this or a warehouse or something. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be some kind of commercial. And, frankly, a warehouse is going to try to use as much of the square foot as it possibly can. And it's not going to be for, solar powered and trees. So that's sort of coming. The lights, again, it has to be hooded. It's got to be night sky friendly. Like, we've already baked that into the ordinance plus our nuisance ordinance. And we've got a separate lighting ordinance. I mean, we've got them 6 ways to Sunday to make sure that it's not, and especially here because we've got the airport. So it even more so can't be bright to invade the neighbors. Water, they call it a purple water system. So it's that self, recycled, closed loop. Obviously, you lose some for evaporation and that kind of stuff. However, it also all has to come from municipal. That's the video of one of the bigger issues that gets circled around is one of the data centers, to try to offset some of their cost, was allowed to pump water out of wells. And so none of the people around them have any well water left. And yeah, that's ridiculous. I wish somebody would have, fronted that for those folks. And so we've looked at that and said, how do we make sure that doesn't happen here? Well, that they've got to use 100% municipal water. But beyond that, before they can even build, they've got to get both power and water certificates. Sorry, Marco Rubio, y'all, but they've got to have the letters that say that there's capacity, that this isn't going to take it from somebody else. And then, as Steve mentioned tonight, something I've also been following. The commission's already said, hey, we've got specific rules. You can't offset this onto, this can't then raise other people's power. That said, I don't think it's Georgia Power. I think it's some other corporation that provides power to Georgia Power, however that works. There's already a planned new power plant coming into Forsyth. So again, with the additional demand is coming extra supply. So noise, that was the big one that I'm hearing, frankly, the most. Hey, this is going to make noise. This is going to make noise, which is why I preemptively went and said acoustic sound dampening walls 20 foot high, so the sound gets dampened, but any sound that escapes goes up. But again, here in this specific site, we're building a jet airport next to it. So there's houses here, it goes here, and there's a jet airport here. So between the jets and the houses is new 2-story buildings. This is going to make the sounds from the airport less for those houses. There's, that's going to reroute the sound. So frankly, I think obviously more noise is coming, but I think you're going to get a lot more noise from the airport than from the occasions these generators kick off. And these buildings are going to be in the way of those jet engines. I mean, literally where this is situated, that's where the hangars are going for these jets. So when they come out of the hangars and have to taxi around, like that's the direction the sound is coming. And it's going to be blocked for the most part by these buildings, I think. I mean, obviously, just like the train, you're going to be able to hear it everywhere. But I think this is actually good for noise abatement in the net for the houses that are right there off of High Falls. We talked about not wanting this to be unsightly. We don't want this to look like Gotham City with just these big buildings everywhere. And if you look at the site plan, there's a lot of old growth trees right there that are going to stay. This is a big, setback from the road. Additionally, it is sort of downhill, and it can only be 2 stories. So certainly from folks' yards, you're going to see the trees, but from the road, you might see the tops, and you're definitely going to be able to look down that road and see it, but it's going to be more like the lakes of Green Valley. I drove in there one morning with my kids. I take my kids to Rock Springs every morning, and I had to stop by and look at something at Renai, and they went, "Wow, we had no idea that these buildings were here." Well, I've been driving them to and from twice a day, and they didn't notice. You really have to be looking through these trees to even see that there's 17 big buildings out there. And I think this is going to be, again, you can look in and you can see Renai, and you can, I think you'll be able to, you'll go, oh, look at it. But I don't think this is going to be 155. We have put in rules specifically to prevent that, and I think this is going to be a good example of that. The same thing with power. We're not taking anybody's backyards. Like we told them up front, we're not eminent domain. You got to be next to them. So they're going to have it right there. Again, there's going to be a new power plant as well. So with the increased demand comes increased supply. I think that Spalding County has a lot of huge challenges. We desperately need a new jail, and a new jail is going to cost us $150 million. Where are we going to get $150 million? When we were desperate for money to finish the SPLOST projects, Heritage Park, and we're going, we're out there ringing bells. Hey, please, donate, and then all of a sudden when COVID hits and we get $13 million to fall out of the sky, it was like, this doesn't happen. Now we were able to use that to offset and take care of the needs we had, but $150 million doesn't fall out of the sky. Well, how are we going to get a new jail? Our jail is a human rights violation. Like we're in bad shape. And we know that. We're doing everything we can. And it's not because of our sheriff. Our sheriff's fantastic. He's doing the best he can. But same thing with our courthouse. We got to get a new courthouse. But at the same time, people come mostly to our two big meetings. I wish people would come more for the budgeting, but they come when we set the budget and they complain about it. And then they come when we set the millage rate and they complain about it. Hey, our taxes are too high, and hey, you're not spending enough on all the services. So for years, I've been up here saying the only way that we can lower taxes and increase their services is if we get more industrial. Period. Right now, 94% of all tax revenue is paid for by residential homeowners. That's wild. That is so unbelievably unfair. With this money, we'll be able to, do the things that the county needs. Plus, as we've been talking about, increase our county homestead exemption to directly lower taxes for homeowners, which is something that's desperately needed. 94% of our tax revenue comes from that. That's unsustainable. So I think this is a literal perfect fit. I think this is a perfect site. I think we've got a wonderful team that has bent over backwards. And every time we go, we'd kind of like, okay, we'll do that too. We're not having to twist arms. They're going, yeah, we want to be good neighbors. So I can't say enough good. I think there is bad about adding new industrial. I mean, there's going to be construction, trees are going to get knocked down. But at the end of the day, Spalding needs it. Our taxpayers need the relief. And as far as tax generation goes, this is going to be incredibly, astronomically high per acre. But we're also not getting heavy trucks and 18-wheelers like warehouses. We're not getting all of the, this is going to be a secure site with a gatehouse and the whole, we're not going to have any of these issues that you would have with less secure facilities. So I just think this is a perfect storm for us. So again, that's why I've made a motion to approve it.
Do we have a second? You do. All right. Any more discussion?
I'm gonna make mine real quick. I ain't gonna be long-winded. There's not a more perfect piece of property. This is the nastiest. There's like 3 or 4 old home places in there. There's trash piles buried everywhere. There's gullies. I went over and run rabbits one time. I had a beagle hit the bush and it come out hairless on the other side. That's some of the roughest land I've ever seen. So anything over there would be an improvement. No, I'm talking. We always talk. We always
Him right here.
Come on.
I'm just talking about that piece of property, not your district.
okay.
No, but there's so much there. There's so many trails of entry. There's so much illegal stuff goes on back there. Stolen cars.
All the dumping on
I found suicide back there one time. I mean, it's just awful. My only concern, and that y'all kind of helped me with that with the acoustic walls, the generators. I would like to put like an acoustic type barrier around them. I know they got to be able to breathe, but just some kind of wall around there for kept outside.
20 foot.
Just a barrier around the generators. I mean, you can leave the tops open, just a barrier around them.
That's the idea. So the sound.
Kill the sound.
Yep.
But other
And
than
that was one of the conditions that's part of my motion, right?
Yes, I heard it. Okay.
I meant for the big buildings, but I can certainly add it in about the generator area.
Yeah, specifically the generator.
Okay.
Big buildings are gonna be facing the airport.
Right, but usually they have some kind of acoustic wall, noise deafening thing with the bigger buildings too, but I'll clarify
Okay.
and add it to the generator area as well.
Mr.
That
Chair,
was
just as a point of clarity, that was your motion.
Ready to
Commissioner Watts, is that your second? All right.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Watts, anything from you?
I don't understand.
Okay. Any other part of the discussion?
Did you read in those conditions that the road had to be brought up to, super paving standards because you're gonna be adding at least 50 more cars?
Actually, that was not in there. We can put that in there.
Super payments for heavy stuff.
Well, they're gonna have a lot of construction stuff going on for the next 2 years on High Falls Road.
That is correct.
You want them to bring up
And
High Falls Road?
that was one of the conditions that the Public Works Director put into his comments was that the construction pathway be brought up to super paving to accommodate for the heavy construction trucks coming in and out of the facility.
So was that one of the conditions that's already there?
I just put it in there and it'll be part of the final
Okay.
Right.
You're
list.
amending?
I'm amending to include that. I thought that was
You're
already
amending?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, we got that. All right, anything else? All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4, all those opposed, 1. All right, next.
Mr. Chairman, number 6, consideration of application 2514Z, Alan R. Mobley, owner, 115 Alicia Drive, Griffin, Georgia, 30224, located in land lot 208 of the Second Land District, parcel number 120020016, consisting of 46.1 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from AR1 agricultural residential and R2 single-family residential to C1C manufacturing light for a data center.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
With conditions as per.
Same conditions as before. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Any new discussion? Bart, listen. All right, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4, all those opposed? 1.
Number 7, consideration of application 2503S, Alan R. Mobley, owner, 0 High Falls Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30224, located in land lot 209 of the Second Land District, parcel number 121010008, consisting of 86.81 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a data center in conjunction with application 2513Z.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, this special exception stating that only a data center can
For a data center.
be done on this property?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Any more discussion? Thank you for clarifying that, Commissioner Flowers Taylor. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5. All those, okay, good.
Mr. Chair, number 8, consideration of application 2504S, Alan R. Mobley, owner, 115 Alicia Drive, Griffin, Georgia, 30224, located in land lot 208 of the Second Land District, parcel number 120020016, consisting of 46.1 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a data center in conjunction with application 2514Z.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5. Motion carries. Now, we're going to get this as a second reading.
Well,
We
the
will
data
bring it back.
center ordinance.
Well, we will bring this back to you as a rezoning ordinance, which will have all of the conditions listed.
It'll have
So
all
we-
the finalized conditions, yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
It will have all the final conditions with it.
Okay. Let's see here now.
Mr. Chair, number 9 for consideration this evening is the approval of a master service agreement for cloud server mitigation.
Migration.
Sorry, migration, please forgive me. Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve?
This is the low bidder that.
This is Liberty.
It is, that
Okay.
is correct.
Oh, yeah. We approved the.
Yeah. All right.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion?
Yes, sir, I'd like to know the total of this the total cost of this master services agreement.
70-some. Here he comes. He's writing it down.
Mr.
Good
Mike
evening.
Wyndham.
Good evening, Commissioners and Chairman. For our new master services agreement, the total cost of their proposal will be $781,000 annually.
Okay. 181,000.
$781,000 annually.
And what did we pay last
They were
year?
the low bidder?
That's correct.
$572,000.
So what are we doing different? Why is it almost $200,000 more?
So this year, the migration to the cloud is about $180,000 extra, and next year we will not have that migration. We will go down significantly in next year's budget.
Oh, so this year is a shift, so.
That's correct.
It's the normal stuff plus a shift, and then next year we don't have a shift.
That is correct.
But aren't we using the same people?
We are using the same people, but we have our own servers on site. We are making the transition to a cloud-based server system, so we are eliminating a vast majority of our servers that we will have to maintain moving forward.
So where were the servers before if they weren't on site here?
They were in this room. They were on site.
Okay, so didn't you say we were gonna have them on site
Nope.
now as
We're,
opposed
we're going to migrate them off-site.
to?
A cloud-based environment. It will be Google. Is that where we're going? Which
They're going to take us to the Microsoft Azure cloud.
That's correct. We're going to Microsoft Azure. More security,
Reach
better
it anywhere.
service.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Instead
to
of having
better-
to be around here, you can.
Mu-
reach it.
much
we don't
better
have to-
system.
If I get to be here next year, I'm definitely wanna see the difference in what this price is gonna be.
Absolutely. And just for consideration, the next bidder, did you bring that with you? What the next bidder price was?
They were over $3 million for the 3 years.
Remember, it was like more than double, like it was.
It
Liberty
was.
over 3
That
years.
makes me very scary, that the low bid is here and the next
Everybody
bid
else
is
is up.
here.
Yes.
Just saying.
I wanna,
Liberty's good.
okay, we have a motion.
You have a motion and a second.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
I wanna make a discussion comment about, master service agreements. Manager, as far as I'm concerned, we have given you money and given you time to produce ordinances, to produce zoning over the last few years. We're not there. I'm not quite sure what we need to do, but we gotta do something different. We've gotta say something, act differently. We gotta do something to get the ordinances and the zoning ordinances done. This
Yes, sir.
is year after year. So take that as, for what it's worth, as, we look forward to doing better than that.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. You through with that? All right. Do we need a vote?
Yes, sir.
All those, excuse me, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. We have a new number, don't we?
Yeah, new number 10.
Number 10. New number 10 is the amendment of the agenda this evening by Commissioner Flowers Taylor to vote to list the property located at Bleachery Street, and I'm sorry, I don't have the address right in front of me.
It's
The
actually
old
2
Springs
parcels on
Mill.
Railroad Street.
Please forgive me, it's 2 parcels on Railroad Street. List those 2 parcels as a public health and safety issue, which will initiate the process for us to move forward with the trash, tires, and the issues associated with those 2 properties that, that we continue to have problems with.
This will also open us up for some grant money, I think, too, for like mitigation for that kind of stuff, right? I think there are some available grants.
We are pursuing grant funds for cleanup every single day, but this will actually provide us with support. The county attorney has been involved in this opportunity to get that area cleaned up, and it's desperately needed.
Motion to approve.
All right, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. What are we gonna do? This says we're gonna clean it up. What are we gonna do to keep people from continuing to dump there?
So we do have cameras in that area that we are pursuing citations for as we locate the individuals who are dumping in that area. But it is an opportunity for us to continue to push on the landowner for that particular area. One of the conversations that the county attorney and I have had is to go through and file condemnation efforts for that property, and specifically make sure that that area remains clean.
And that will not be a quick process.
It will not.
I understand that, but the problem for me is that when you have an absent landowner, and I don't care how many letters you send them, we are still on this side driving around Bleacher Street between furniture, old furniture, tires, old clothes, and we need to do better than that.
We
When
do need to
We
do
talk
better.
about
Yes,
raising
ma'am.
the bar, and I get it, I understand that there's a process, but I guess a better question would be, how many people have we prosecuted for dumping there?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Tell me this,
Two?
do we have
One?
signs
Maybe
out?
1 or 2. Yes, sir. We've got signs out. We've got 3 cameras in the area. The code enforcement officers are driving by there daily to check on it. It is an absent landlord, and that's why the discussion that we have had with our county attorney is to pursue condemnation for those two parcels, because we feel like that's gonna be the only opportunity that we have to keep that area clean.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
We have a motion and a second.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Under other business this evening, number 1, consideration of application 2327S, ACA Ventures, Ashik Lanai, 3458 Teeman Road, Griffin, Georgia, approximately 2.49 acres, located in land lot 113 of the Second Land District, parcel number 201-01012A. The applicant is requesting a special exception for a convenience store gas station per section 1303B2.
All right, let me make sure. David, Mr. Zoning Attorney, I believe it's your position that there is no public hearing on this case this evening. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
All right, we've heard from the community several times on this application. It is time for the Board of Commissioners to consider the application. Could the staff please provide their report with any conditions?
Yes, sir. Yeah, this has been going around for almost 2 years now. It has a 23 application number on it. This was tabled back in May for some environmental concerns. Those have been addressed in a new report by a registered engineer in your packet. It has already been rezoned. It was rezoned back in 2011. There were certain rezoning conditions attached to that, which have all been met in the provided site plan that you have analyzed in your staff report. Also, it aligns with the future land use map and comp plan. This is a Teeman Road community crossroads. Allows up to 2 parcels to be zoned commercially. This would be the very first, so it does not exceed the number of parcels, and it allows for needed services in the area.
Okay, David, now let me make sure. The issue that I heard talked about was runoff water, whatever, from gas station onto people's property who are trying to farm. Is that right? And I understand that the independent engineer came in and looked at it and wrote, and in his summary said, won't happen.
Correct.
I'm looking for that head nod, that, yes, sir. Okay. All right. So that was what the big issue was on this.
A registered engineer told you this, yes.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve application 23-27S.
All right. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 3. All those opposed, like sign. 2. Motion carries.
That was with staff conditions.
With the, yes, with the staff conditions that are provided. Okay. Next.
Mr. Chair, application 2505S, Cody Jones, Ralph Storm, and Robin Storm owners, 3121 West Ellis Road, Griffin, Georgia, 30223, located in land lot 20 of the 4th Land District, parcel number 265-01020B, consisting of 5 acres. The applicant is requesting a special exception to place a manufactured home on the property per section 503B18 and section 413G1.
Attorney, I want to make sure that I believe your position is no public hearing on this case is required this evening. Is that correct?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
Why?
We've already had one.
Okay.
We have heard from our community several times on this application. It is time for the Board of Commissioners to consider the application. Could the staff please provide their report with conditions?
Yes, sir. Back on May 22nd also, this is not really tabled. There was a 2-2 vote, so there's no action taken. Therefore, on your next agenda, which was this one, not June, you are to hear it again. Staff's recommendation has been denial based on the mobile home report that is required in the code. It shows a substantial amount of stick-built conventional houses as opposed to the mobile homes. I do sympathize with the applicant as far as the affordability of a house, but, sticking with the code, this is my recommendation.
Planning Commission,
Deny also.
okay.
Motion to deny.
I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second? And I have a second, discussion.
We're trying, we created a code before I was on here. I think you
Talk
were
to
here
the mic.
when it was created to help transition. The county was at that time way overloaded with manufactured homes. And so they created this ordinance that is essentially, if the community is moving away from it, we wanted to keep the community moving away from it. And that's exactly what we're sticking to here.
Any other comments, questions, discussion? All right,
I'm probably gonna probably vote against y'all on this one because I felt that the applicant should have approached it as a hardship in another way, and because she does have elderly, family there and needs to help, care for some, but we gotta do, like I say, you gotta stick with ordinances.
what they provide to us is what we've got to work with. I understand, all right? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 4, all those opposed, 1, motion carries.
Mr. Chair, number 3, application 2511Z, High Falls 16 LLC, owner 2825 Arthur K. Bolton Parkway, Griffin, Georgia 30224, located in land lot 80 of the 3rd Land District, parcel number 218020005D, consisting of 19.65 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from C1 Highway Commercial to C2 Manufacturing for light industrial office uses and gas station.
Once again, county attorney, zoning attorney, no public hearing required, correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Why C2? Why does it need to be C2 as opposed to C1?
The,
For the gas station?
no, the gas station should be found on C1. C2 C1 has an office use, but this is more of a high-intensity office use, a contractor/office. And C2 does speak about plumbing contractor offices, things like that. The C1 does not. So we felt it was the better thing to do to go to C2 due to the more intense office use that's spoke about in C2.
So my concern in C2 is outside storage. And I always have a problem. I understand people need space for outside storage. I don't like outside storage on the side of the building. If you're storing something, it should be behind the building. So, I mean, maybe it could be a motorcycle repair shop, but I don't want to see the whole front of it with motorcycles sitting out or lawnmowers sitting out. So I don't know how, if this particular zoning, I mean, I think I read that they could have outside storage on the side and in the back.
Actually
Because
addressed
this is a special kind of,
your concern I addressed about the repair type businesses. I've actually addressed in condition 6, and repair garages and public garages are not approved uses, so they couldn't have them, period.
okay.
Yeah.
So, because we're talking about a
Right.
smaller area.
And then these are kind of unique office spaces, as we described before, where if it's a surveyor or something, there's an office, but then there's a garage door beside it where they pull in, and you can't see anything anyway.
I mean, you could have a seamstress shop or
Right.
or something that's not heavy laden in.
But the
Can we
amount of
put in a
stuff
condition for
outside
no
will be-
outside storage
will be
then?
limited.
I mean, if it's
Some,
designed
yes.
to go in.
Some, but no, they were trying to go with interior repair. I don't believe that would happen. I think it would still be stored outside, some kind of car in a dismantled kind of state, but.
Yeah.
So I kind of nipped that in the bud with that. The other trucks and a lot of things will be stored in the garage, but there could be some small outside storage.
Right, you could run your business and all of your equipment could also be stored in that.
Correct.
in
That's
that
the
place.
concept that I'm all excited
Yeah.
about. I'm not excited about
But,
outside storage.
Right,
If it doesn't fit in that garage, go someplace else.
Yeah, can
but it
can
offers an opportunity for small business.
Yes,
that
I
wouldn't
agree with that.
normally
That's
have.
what
This right here is the most beneficial development I've seen so far with the AKB overlay and stuff
Yeah.
out there. This is for small businesses. This gives people opportunity to have, since we're so hard on people, running people out of the county for business licenses and shit, this gives them a place to have somewhere to meet up in the mornings or whatever. I know the last time the huge argument was the, through road, the developer does not have a say-so on that. That's totally up to DOT. So if DOT comes in at the end and says, we gotta have it, connectivity all the way to Tomachichi, it's them. I mean, and from just talking to the developers and them, I mean, it's just, it's not their choice on that. They would rather not have it, you know.
However, if I may, Commissioner, there's two major changes to this plan that were result of discussion from in May. That is one of them. Currently, the current site plan, which is revised, does not show through access to Tomochichi right now. Like you said, if GDOT says in the future do it, then we'll be forced to, but for the time being, there is a T-shaped turnaround there, not a through access anymore.
Yeah.
Also, the other major change is the 15-foot wide perimeter buffer, which will have a 3 or 4 foot tall berm with at least 6 foot tall evergreen trees and shrubs on top of it. So that was the two main concerns we heard from the public. Those have now been addressed in the approval conditions.
Are there, so hard to see, residences directly that are gonna be directly affected by that? Is that the little square box?
Right.
Yes, to the northeast, yes.
Comes off of that. And then off of Tomachichi, there's some.
We need bigger.
Mainly right off of Tomachichi.
Okay, mostly off of Tomachichi.
Yes.
Okay, and I see that there's some undisturbed buffer there, but do we have a requirement other than the berm, and which side are we saying that we want the berm on?
Actually, the berm is going to be located on all of the edges where the residential locations are.
This is a cute little enclosed campus looking kind of thing right there. I think that's gonna
Reminds
be
me of a couple
interesting to
places in
see,
Fayette County, I think.
how that's gonna work out.
I'm still worried about outside storage. Hey, we gotta park this here for a while. Is there a way to put a condition in that says no long-term outside storage? Hey, we're gonna park this dump truck here and leave it, or back this storage container here. You know what I'm saying, and leave it as like almost a ancillary structure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not interested in that.
Yeah.
We can say some short-term stuff. I'm okay with,
Right. Hey, I gotta leave
But
it
there's
here.
no
I'm
way
working
to
on it.
police that. That's the
Of
first
course we
thing.
would.
And then, if we allow it for one person and the other person doesn't know about it, then they can just make the assumption that they can also start putting their Adirondack chairs out front, or whatever it is they're making. So for me, that's the problem is, we can't stop people from throwing tires on the road on Bleachery Street. How much time they got to go into that little campus and police whether or not people are.
And I think this will be different because it's gonna be kind of a mixed use. You might have a guy that's got antique cars, one building here, and the next building you got an attorney office. I mean, you got, an attorney ain't gonna stand for that, or a doctor, or something,
Right, if you're
something.
running so yeah.
So that people will kind of police themselves over there on that, and they'll start complaining.
1941 North, I don't know.
Yeah, that's exactly. All right, David, can you put something in there and we'll talk about the enforcement of it if it starts to get out of hand?
We can get more robust.
So
code
no
enforcement. That's the plan.
long-term outside storage.
Long-term. Hey, we're gonna put these storage containers here for forever. No, you can't do that.
Outside storage during daylight hours only.
I
I mean,
will,
there needs to be some stipulation.
Well, hey, I gotta leave this car here for a few days.
I don't have a problem with a week.
Yeah,
you know,
you know what I'm saying?
but-
But like, hey, no, we're gonna put this storage container here for forever. We're gonna
Yeah.
nail it to the ground. No.
All right,
Okay.
David, can you work up some words to do
I
that?
will add that as a 9th condition.
Okay, all right.
We got a motion.
You do not have a motion.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve with staff conditions and the additional long-term.
All right.
I will make a second to application 25-11Z with those conditions and the extra one that David just should add.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries. Just like everybody else, I'm really excited about this opportunity for what they're trying to do. All right,
Mr. Chair, number 4, application 2512Z, High Falls 16 LLC owner, 0 Tomachichi Road, Griffin, Georgia 30224, located in land lot 80 of the 3rd Land District, parcel number 218020006E, consisting of 5.05 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from AR1 agricultural residential and R2 single-family residential to C2 for light industrial office uses.
Once again, zoning attorney,
Go to the
no
map.
public hearing required?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Is that across the street?
No,
It's
ma'am,
right
very-
next door.
This is 5 acres right next
Like
to
in the little
the bigger
southeast,
piece.
southeastern corner?
What it is, if you see building 3 and 4, it basically would, building 3 and 4 would be partly on this little 5 acre piece that's part
Okay.
of 12Z.
Oh, so this is for the gas station little
No,
section?
it's for the western side, opposite the gas station.
Oh, those four.
Like a
correct.
narrow 5 acre triangle that, if approved,
Okay.
would be combined with the bigger piece to make this whole office park.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
With staff conditions.
With staff conditions,
As
yes.
discussed tonight.
I'll
That
second
was
it
my
with
motion.
staff conditions.
All right. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, motion carries.
We got an executive session?
At this time, I would like to entertain a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussion and authorization of negotiations related to the acquisition, sale, disposition, or lease of real property as permitted under OCGA 5014-3B1B, where public discussion could adversely affect the county's position. Do I have a motion?
Motion to go into closed session to discuss a real estate acquisition or et cetera, as the chairperson stated.
Pursuant to that code section.
Pursuant to that.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. 5-0, we're going into executive session. We will then come back out here. executive session?
Motion to come out of executive session.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All right, let's make sure we're all good on the calendar. The 19th,
This Saturday
This
is
Saturday.
the listening session. I'll be there.
and then on the 21st,
It's
the Monday,
zoning.
we have,
No, it's
I mean, just
extraordinary.
regular stuff.
Correct.
and then on the 24th,
Zoning. Zoning
Right.
part.
and then we've got the first day of school on the 31st. Try to go out.
Yeah, to the school. I think I'll go to my school in my district.
Greeting parties. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
All right.
Legacy Museum,
We-
they said gonna do a forum. How do that work?
Yeah.
Can we all be there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's just-
We can
it
all be
just-
there. We have noticed that for the public. It is
They just do
posted
it
on the
just in
board.
case.
Okay,
That's-
gotcha.
That's gonna be not like the 2 listening sessions before.
Okay.
This is gonna be much different because we got this thing not very
This
well designed.
marker,
I got you.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have,
motion adjourned.
Second.
Yeah.
all those in favor, raise your hand. We're adjourned.
I know you work today. I know, but you gonna be, you know, July people be having a birthday anytime in July.